The city of Shushi has for millennia been a center of culture, learning, and civilization for Armenians. Armenians have lived, prospered, developed, learned, and created in Shushi as they have throughout Artsakh. In the early 20th century, Turks and Azeris began to persecute Armenians living in Artsakh, destroying property and killing Armenian civilians. During the Soviet era, Stalin transferred the administrative oversight of Artsakh and Nakhichevan to Baku. Soviet Azerbaijan then spent decades oppressing, persecuting, forcefully moving, and at times massacring the Armenian populations of Artsakh and Nakhichevan. Azerbaijan also made every effort to keep Armenian-occupied regions underdeveloped and made certain to isolate Artsakh from the Republic of Armenia. In 1988, after decades of oppression and persecution, as the Soviet Union began to crumble, the Armenians of Artsakh organized peaceful demonstrations to demand the reunification of Artsakh with Armenia. Azerbaijan responded with pogroms in Baku and Sumgait, creating a refugee crisis as the survivors of these massacres were forced to leave Azerbaijan. The bloody response by Azerbaijan made it clear to the Armenians of Artsakh that unless Armenians defended themselves, they'd be subject to further massacres and genocide at the hands of the Azeri Turks. Azerbaijan continued its persecution and aggression towards Armenians. In 1989, the last Armenian living in Shushi fled the city. Shushi is located on a hill overlooking many Armenian villages, as well as Stepanakert, the capital of Artsakh. In the context of military positions, Shushi is in a very strategic position. Azeris use their control over Shushi to constantly shell the Armenian populations in surrounding villages and cities, including the densely populated city of Stepanakert, killing hundreds of civilians. By early spring of 1992, the war had become unbearable for the Armenian population of Artsakh as a result of constant shelling from Shushi. The decision was made to take back the city of Shushi at any cost. It was the only way to secure Artsakh's freedom. A strategic military plan was drawn up, and the heroic fighters defending Artsakh were organized to take back Shushi. The men going into this battle knew it was a life-or-death situation for the freedom-loving population of Artsakh. Most of them were convinced that they would not be returning home from this battle. In the early hours of May 8, 1992, 3,800 Armenian fighters planned to retake Shushi. The line of contact was 28 miles long and snaked through difficult terrain. After 26 hours of non-stop fighting, Shushi was liberated at 4 a.m. on May 9th. The operation to liberate Shushi was called Wedding in the Mountains. We lost 52 heroes during this operation. However, their lives were not lost in vain, as the liberation of Shushi marked the turning point in the Artsakh War. The liberation of Shushi made possible the eventual independence of Artsakh. Since the ceasefire in 1994, Armenians in Artsakh have rebuilt their homes, schools, churches, and lives. Our compatriots live and prosper and enjoy their hard-fought freedom. There is not one family in Artsakh whose lives have not been touched by the war. Still today, our young men continue to defend Artsakh's borders as Azerbaijan continues its aggression towards Artsakh and Armenia. The war has been won, and Artsakh is a thriving republic with consistent democratic elections. Yet Azeri killings continue along the line of contact today. Much of Artsakh is still littered with landmines and its borders are not secure. Shushi and Stepanakert are once again in the hands of our people, but our struggle does not end there. The ANCA Eastern Region continues to advocate for the safety and security of the Republic of Artsakh in support of the heroic soldiers serving on the front lines in the past and today. Through our efforts, the ANCA has secured the recognition of the Republic of Artsakh by 9 U.S. states, along with millions of dollars of direct U.S. aid. Over the past 20 years, we have helped to secure humanitarian aid for projects supporting maternal health, clean drinking water, the rehabilitation of wounded civilians and soldiers at the Lady Cox Center, and the life-saving demining of arable land via the Halo Trust. Most recently, the ANCA Eastern Region helped obtain over 75 co-signatories from 23 states for a bipartisan letter addressed to the House Appropriation Committee Chairwoman, Representative Nita Lowey, and over 30 signatures from across the political spectrum in the Senate for the Senator Menendez-led letter seeking increased fiscal year 2021 funding for vital demining efforts in Artsakh. To help the ANCA Eastern Region in its efforts against the Azeri and Turkish forces that want to see Artsakh destroyed, visit anca.org/aid. We also encourage you to join the ANCA Eastern Region's #60for60 campaign at ancaef.org/donate. Let's make our voices heard and defend the Republic of Artsakh.